Good evening. Welcome to Thursday, February 7th, 2013 Planning Commission meeting. Tonight, the subject of our discussion is going to be the proposed Tuckahoe Center on County Road 39, close to the McGee Street intersection. Basically, just to give you a little bit of a history on this, the town is entertaining an application for a zone change petition that was given to them from Southampton Venture LLC, being the developers of the Tuckahoe Center. And the town accepted in a positive declaration. And as part of that, the developer has to provide a DEIS, which is a draft environmental impact statement. In that, the developer has to address all sorts of environmental issues and concerns in order for the boards and the town to entertain the option for changing the zoning to a supermarket, which is presently, that's a highway business district and residential district on that property. The town, back in November, basically approved a document, a draft version of it, and a public hearing was opened up for the public's input into this DEIS. And it was just recently presented to the town. I don't know if they're still closed or not, but I know there was a deadline for the public to submit, and the Village of Southampton submitted basically a 4-page document stating their concerns and issues that the draft environmental impact statement has to address vis-a-vis the village's concern. We're going to be discussing those tonight. Before we do that, I'll just give you a definite description of what this development is. The applicant is seeking to rezone 3 adjoining properties located on the south side of County Road 39, east of McGee Street in the hamlet of Tuckahoe, totaling 276,000 plus square feet, from highway business to shopping center business, and a 40,000 square foot portion of a fourth parcel which adjoins the northeasterly side of McGee Street from residential R20 to a shopping center this business district, to allow such portion to provide a 50-foot transition rear yard buffer for the proposed Tuckahoe Center and driveway access to and from McGee Street. The proposed action includes the demolition of an existing improvement on the site and the redevelopment of the property with the following: a 40,000 square foot supermarket, 15,000 square foot retail space within 2 separate buildings, and a 3,500 square foot bank. The shopping center will include associated paved parking areas, providing 217 spaces, and lawn and landscaped areas. Access to the proposed development would be limited to 2 driveways on CR 39. The main driveway will be designed to allow traffic to enter from both eastbound and westbound directions, but existing traffic will be allowed to make right turns out only. The secondary driveway will be designed to permit right turns in and right turns out only. A public access easement across the site that will provide a connection from McGee Street to CR 39 is proposed. This is a short, brief description of what this project is. In light of a request to incorporate concerns of the village into this draft environmental impact statement, the village drafted a letter in brief addressing its concerns to the town and requesting that the developer incorporate in its DEIS basically answers to these concerns. I'll briefly go over these things, these items that we have brought to their attention, and then we'll open it up and discuss it. First and foremost, the shopping center business zoning change designation is a radical attempt at departing from the existing highway business zone, in that a strong precedent for high activity retail will be set for the remainder of the highway business zone. The Town of Southampton County Road 39 study requires 4 factors to be considered for a change in the highway business zone. Primary among them is the factor that proposes uses to be low to moderate trip generators. Both this proposed supermarket and the retail complex, by the town's own admission, are high volume traffic generators. So introduction of an active high traffic generator retail center with approximately 220 car parking, in addition to the daily truck delivery of goods and produce to the supermarket, is a radical departure from the existent low-impact commercial business zone as the highway business requires. The County Road 39 Highway Business Zone has prospered in its present designation through multiple successful developments in line with low-volume retail activity. And one of the points that the developer has brought up is that there hasn't been any successful developments on that, and hence a request for this change of zone. We countered that, basically stating that there have been recent developments on the Highway Business District, County Road 39, which have been in line with what the guidelines for these developments are, and they have been successful. Among them are the recent Mercedes-Benz dealership, the PC Richards, low-density retail activity developments further westwards, and numerous restaurants. These are all falling into the category of lower volume traffic generators, and they have been developing historically on County Road 39. To say that this is a blight and Highway 39 is not being developed is a misrepresentation, and that a supermarket is the only thing that could occur over there. To continue on that path, actually, the town's comprehensive plan, aware of the traffic issues inherent in County Road 39, calls for a high-density commercial development to be concentrated in existing hamlets, which is actually in line with what the village's master plan discussions and proposals were, which basically was that to concentrate higher density retail activities in the heart of the hamlets and the villages, that being the heart of Southampton Village, Bridgehampton Village, Sag Harbor, and East Hampton, and not to have moved these types of developments into the periphery and the so-called suburbs of these nodes. As such, the present proposed zone change and development is in direct conflict with the comprehensive plan directives adopted by the town of Southampton in 1999. Furthermore, development of a 40,000 square foot large supermarket at the proposed site will exacerbate the adjacent Southampton village's difficulty in filling existing retail spaces. Based on the Southampton Press's summer edition of June 6, 2012, there were 26 vacant stores in the height of the summer retail activity in the village business district. Now, it could be countered that the village business district cannot accommodate a supermarket of this nature, but we do have supermarkets in the heart of the village, and a lot of people coming for their shopping to the supermarket also extend their retail activity to other shops in the village. So basically it's foot traffic for the village. By shifting some comprehensive major shoppings of this nature as a supermarket to outside the village, the smaller shops would also lose that type of a foot traffic that is associated with it. Following that, County Road 39 arterial is the primary traffic artery for the east end of Long Island. This road carries a heavy traffic flow throughout the year, and much of the road is in a gridlock, service level F, during the summer months. The traffic study for this site must account for the town opening up the entire highway business zone to future shopping center businesses or other high-traffic retail usage, leading to negatively and severely impacting County Road 39 as the sole arterial accommodating regional traffic and the sole coastal evacuation route. Primarily by granting this type of a zone change, a precedent is set on County Road 39. and additional high-activity retails would, with great concern, affect the traffic on County Road 39. I mean, we keep adding lanes, as you can see right now. Again, another section of the County Road 39 is being expanded with additional lanes on either side, but then that will be getting exacerbated by, again, bringing in high retail traffic activities on top of it. So one hand washes the other. And finally, no mitigating factors are being considered to address the negative traffic impact of the proposed large-scale intrusion on the immediate border of the village of Southampton. The effect of a supermarket of this scale in neighboring proximity to village's smallest zone historic residential areas. These are the zones R7.5, R12.5, and R20, which are mostly zones that are to the north of Hill Street and are sandwiched between Hill Street and this proposed site, are going to be the primary route to access through back roads this supermarket, and the tremendous traffic that this will bring on these small residential streets will really exacerbate traffic and the whole nature of these small neighborhoods. There has been no indication how this would be addressed if the supermarket were to be built at the proposed site. So in light of these points that I made, I'd like to open up the meeting. Anybody having any comments? And then from there we'll also ask comments from the public.
Oh. Okay. Well, I think that the biggest concern here is definitely traffic, and I think they should have at least a merging lane as well as a turning lane. When you exit their main entrance, there should be an additional lane created on County Road 39 to be so the traffic that's going to go in or leaving the shopping center has an extra lane to either merge into the traffic. And I think that also I think their plans doesn't call also for what's typical of shopping center. There should be a fire lane in front of the building. So I'm not sure that this plan actually meets even the present fire codes in terms of fire apparatus access.
I think what concerns me is I don't want this County Road 39 to turn into Route 58, like in Riverhead, and kill downtown Riverhead. That's exactly what happened. If you let this one, the next one, the next one, and the next one, and you're going to empty out downtown.
I was thinking that.
Well, that's the gravest thing, setting the precedent. And once you do that,
Yeah, once you set the precedent,
where do you draw the line then?
Yeah, where do you draw the line?
How could you draw the line?
and you brought up the traffic. I know what the traffic is. I lived here all my life. And that road in the summertime, even, it's worse in the summer. It's still bad now. But, you know, you put that on there, it's just going to even make it worse. And a number of accidents trying to make a left-hand turn if you're heading west into that supermarket.
Probably the traffic in County Road 39 is going to push all the traffic in the neighboring residential areas.
Well, I'm going to be affected because I'm one of those residential areas.
Yeah.
So,
They're saying that if a village resident access this, they'll come from Hill Street.
Correct.
Yeah.
All the
Yeah.
backwards. You know, it will
And
avoid
use the McGee
Moses,
Street entrance.
Mhm.
And exit the McGee Street entrance
Correct.
and not go on the county road. If you're coming from the North Sea Tuckahoe side, you would need to cross into the main entrance or come down McGee Street.
Yeah.
And of course,
Housing will be affected too.
today, even today, a lot of residents use these back streets to access
Absolutely.
some activities that are on County Road 39.
I do.
But none of them generate this type of a traffic flow, which is a supermarket and daily usage of a supermarket by all residents, and usage of these back streets to access that would be basically complete turnaround as to what that traffic is today to what it would be. And none of those streets are designed to accept that type of traffic.
No, and it's not really a direct route from County Road to Hill Street. It seems as though you never take the same street twice, because you cross this.
I can't see village residents going on to 39 to go shopping in that. They'll be using all the back streets.
But it's still a King Kong.
Although, I think, Bob, I think your point is well taken about County Route 58. I think on the other side, there is a need for a shopping center in the area. I think there's a need for a supermarket in the area.
Yeah, but
And-
once
and
you
as-
open that door,
Doesn't have to
No,
be
I
there.
understand that.
how do
there
you
is
close it?
There is no other area in the village, in our village business district, we do not have the space for, just as you pointed out, there's no space for a 40,000 square foot a supermarket. So the question is that, is this the most appropriate location for it? But I think we should manage the growth, but not impede the growth. I think that there is no question that this County Route 39 will be developed, and I think it's a question, is this the right location where it's not a corner location? I think the access is really it's poor access.
Well,
The only way to develop it though is to change the zoning. So unless the zoning is changed, you're not gonna get that kind of development. So, you gotta
Right.
see what you put first, the horse or the cart. So right now, you're not gonna get that development unless we change the zoning. And once you change the zoning on this, development may get a little out of hand.
Right, but normally, typically, a shopping center of this size would be at a location where there's a traffic light. He would be more at a corner area, rather than in the middle of a block where you don't really have, his traffic pattern is not the
Well, in
most
defense
desirable.
of that, there is no light created here, which is a minor plus. This doesn't create a traffic light.
But it will.
no, it definitely does, by not creating it doesn't mean that there wouldn't be a need for it.
Understood. Has there ever been a precedent for what this developer is asking for in the past?
On County Road 39?
Yes.
Well, the only precedent that I can see is in Bridgehampton.
Commons?
The Commons in Bridgehampton.
That was,
But there is a traffic light.
There is a traffic light.
no, was it a zoning change to allow all
Oh,
of that?
as far as a change in zoning,
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure
Yes.
about
I
that.
don't know.
Yes,
Yes.
That was?
single instance of a zone change.
Zone change. The
Apple
one-
for apple, similar situation, like this, it was not supposed to be such a high density?
No, there are differences, but I can't
Yeah.
cite them. I can provide you with them. But there is no other instance of a shopping center on the east end. Only Bridgehampton.
By and large, the Bridgehampton thing, for better or worse, is, you would deem, traffic-wise, successful.
Yeah.
You get in there efficiently, it still feels a part of the village, you could say, and it doesn't cheat the
Well-
village, because it's so, I feel it's very, the proximity of the store
Right.
for store.
Well, but that village is really on Montauk Highway.
Right, and it's
So it's right
transformed the
there.
village into being an antique store strip instead of being mom and pop shops. So
But this, the Southampton Village is not on County
Right.
39,
Right.
we're back in.
Well, 2 points. One is to what you just mentioned, is that based on geography of where the village's relationship to this site, is that a whole number of residential zones are sandwiched between the two versus Bridgehampton.
Right.
So in order to access this, the traffic will be impacting those residential zones. But to your point, Mark, is that as far as this change of zone, that this would be the location for it, for a supermarket, and that there's a need for a supermarket. The town supported a comprehensive plan, undertook a County Road 39 study, and both of these have come up with recommendations and understandings that basically recommend strongly low-impact retail on County Road 39, because this is the only arterial that accesses all the villages on the east end. So if we were to start plugging in these high-activity retails, especially at junctures where there are no relief valves. For instance, as an example, Bridgehampton, its proximity to the village provides some sort of relief, whereas in this case, with this with the school being first of all on Tuckahoe Road, then there's the North Sea Road intersection
Hollow,
coming
North
further
Sea.
down over there, and the whole residential neighborhoods that the village would have to reach from the back roads of Maggie to this point, puts this as a very critical traffic junction. And already, as Bob mentioned, traffic is exasperated over there. To further that, I don't think even adding a lane or two would resolve it.
Stress the points again as to how the County Road 39 zoning got formulated for being such, for why it was deemed low impact. Just one more time.
Primarily because this is the only arterial that feeds us. It's a coastal evacuation route.
That's
And,
important.
and as you know, even in the mornings and the evenings, eastbound and then westbound, because of higher traffic, there's basically backup.
So the
at
foresight
every
was
traffic
to
light.
not make matters worse.
Worse by creating nodes that would,
And does this do that? Simple answer.
simple answer, that a supermarket
yes.
of 40,000 square feet plus
Plus-
another
plus-
20,000 of
plus-
retail
That's the case.
uh, is a major
270.
imposition on this road. I mean, I mentioned a few years ago, as far as talking about the need for supermarkets, that being that this is the East End, the nature of East End being a more of a rural, if not urban, dense area, that markets should respond to that in that sense that their scale would be smaller too. That you'd have smaller markets rather than larger supermarkets. And these markets could be in closer proximity to residential neighborhoods and also be more in scale to them. One might not do all of their shoppings at one spot, but or in one day, but the scale of these types of developments would be more in line with the character of our communities.
That's why it's called a village.
Exactly.
Well, it's Hampton Bays, that the King Cullen Center that was built in Hampton Bays, I don't know how long ago was it?
5 years ago.
5 years ago?
Yeah, but again, that was on Montauk
Well,
Highway, that
exactly, you're
is in
right.
the hamlet of Hampton Bays. It's along that same,
And the smaller shops face the street, so
Yes.
there is walking traffic. I get it, but I just wonder, has it created any issues with high-volume traffic?
You may have
It's
brought
created.
business to the village instead
Well-
of cheating the
Yeah,
village,
I
which
think-
is,
Okay.
I think there are two arguments here. I think you have to stress the argument is to, what's the precedent for the zoning change? Obviously, to grant that hurts the village, but I don't know that you can use the argument that there are 26 stores empty. That's
No,
somebody
I
else's
don't think so. And
problem.
also, I think that
Maybe
in
those are
terms
bad
of
stores.
the type of retail that the village is looking for, I don't believe will be the retail that the center will have.
Has the
It's a
developer
different
done his
type.
homework
Well,
that
where
he
we
really
need another
can't
bank?
put in a grocery store of this magnitude in the village somewhere? There is no, piece
There's
of
no
real
zoning
estate.
for it, I don't think.
You probably have to combine some real estate, like
Yeah.
where Walmart is, they can combine, or you
have
can.
they done their homework in that sense?
I've done my homework, I think.
Francine Genovese, if
Yeah,
you could.
Could you do me a favor? I can't really hear them back
okay,
there. If they could move
well,
on
I'm
to-
waiting, I'll wait then till I.
No, no, I
No,
don't
please.
mean to stop you from talking. I would like just to hear you, that's all. I need you
Do
in
you
the
want
front
me
row.
to-
Yes, go ahead.
It seems as though that if everybody thinks that the village needs,
Yeah.
a
Not to the
competing
microphone. No, no, right here,
supermarket.
just in the front row, that's all.
Okay.
I'm all for that.
That's fine.
Okay, I've been listening and I just want to elaborate on.
If you could
on
just
certain-
identify yourself.
Yeah, Francis Genovese, I live on Bishop's Lane. The developer did his homework in the sense that he cobbled together a deal and made a windfall purchase on the IGHL home that was run for many, many years on that site. So the question of whether there is a better location, this developer is not interested in pursuing a better location. He's got the location he wants, and he's going to develop it. So can I just talk to certain things? We feel that this change of zone meets all the requirements for a challenge for spot zoning. I could go through that if anybody is interested, but this is an important thing. The business model of a Wallbaum's is based on a Walmart. and, I'm sorry, not on the King Cullen and on Waldbaum's. Everything in the supermarket field is now based on the Walmart model. So consequently, what you're going to have in this store is 50% of the merchandise is not food related. It directly duplicates stuff that you want to buy at Herrick's, that you want to buy at Hildreth's. It's a cheaper quality, they sell it less, for less money, so that they can get you in. So its impact on the village will be extreme. The second thing is that one of the requirements for this change of zone is that it answers a community benefit. Now, there's been a lot of discussion on the difference between need and want. There is no need for this market. The developer has not been able to substantiate a need with his marketing study. What he has are people who anecdotally come and say, maybe 3 or 4 people at every meeting, that they want a supermarket. They want. I'd like to remind you that East Hampton, Amagansett, that whole area is serviced by one supermarket, which is smaller, which is about the same size of the Walmart. People don't come out here because they're crazed to shop for supermarket goods. They come out for another kind of ambience and another kind of situation. The need under law, the need would be defined, if this is challenged for spot zoning, the need would be defined by the proximity to other shopping available. There are two pieces of case law in the exact same situation. Almost you would think it's this. It's a large market, and one of them it's a King Cullen, and one of them it's a Walmart, wants to change a zone and come in to a community. On the one hand, they get it. Immediately the change of zone is approved because there isn't any shopping within 22 miles of the place. On the other, it's denied because there's shopping in proximity, 4 or 5 miles, 8 miles. There's shopping within 4-mile radius of this. So the need, and if you want to set a precedent, if you let him get a change of zone based on want, then what do you say to the person who wants a Target, the person who wants a Home Depot, the person who wants anything? You know, places where they buy sneakers, I don't know, what are they, sports something. Okay, so that's the issue. The blight specifically on that site has been caused and encouraged by the partners that this developer has gotten together. And you've talked about traffic, but I don't think anybody fully realizes what the truck traffic, the delivery traffic of this is going to be. At this point in time, Hill Street is considered the alternate highway. The truck traffic that's going to be generated, deliveries up and down those small streets, are a very serious concern because in the 60s, the village got together and put truck restrictions on all of the small neighborhood streets. If he gets his change of zone, all of those restrictions, all of your laws are nullified because he has the right, the King Cullen has the right to have their trucks come. That's part of your own law. So that'll be just wiped away. The maintenance of the village streets, which will be hit very, very hard, because there'll be access streets to the alternate highway, which is Hill Street, the maintenance will be borne by the taxpayers of the village. So, I mean, you have those questions. Safety, you know, it's already an issue. So I just wanted to ask what you think this board can do to making your views known. We have the first thing, but perhaps you can, substantiate your concerns and formalize them in some way.
Well, as I said, we've engaged in various stages during this process. Originally, as you all know, this application was presented as a PDD, as a part of a planned development district.
Yeah, many historians.
And we, not only as a village board, but also in the capacity also as the AIA, American Institute of Architects, the Peconic chapter, we opposed the PDD laws because the criteria for judgment was not basically set correctly. And the town did accept that as a flaw for the PDD laws and changed some of those criteria for the PDD. Having said that, the developer has come back not putting in an application for a PDD, but for a change of zone to a supermarket district. And interestingly enough, one of the main criteria for the PDD was that the developer has to provide community benefits in return for getting granted this use, whereas the change of zone to a supermarket does not require the developer to provide a community benefit in that sense.
It's not as stringent, but I think there's still a requirement. But I think something that I've overlooked that you really must look at very closely here is that the place where this supermarket is proposed to go is not owned by this developer. He owns the 6 acres residential that are to the south of it. Now, as soon as this change of zone is put in place, within 2 years you're going to have an application before you to push this commercial zone 7 acres south of the tier on the highway. He will come back with that. He has this kind of history. The site, King Cone and Hampton Bays is derelict. They build them with a certain thing called handy warp or something. I can't remember, but it's an airsats. Do you know what I'm talking about?
As far as construction material you're
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah, and anyway, it's not holding up. And within that complex, there are very many empty stores. So.
Which is the same developer that's proposing to...
This is the exact same developer. But I think that you should keep firm in your mind that the alternative, that to put it someplace else is not on the board here. It's not on the table. He wants to develop this particular plot of land because of its circumstances, that he cobbles together the derelict properties with his partner, that he owns because of a windfall purchase, the 6 residential, the IGHL and the 6 residential acres behind it. So.
Do you know what he wants to do with that?
Well, nobody knows, and this is a problem because he initially included it. He included it,
That's
he
what I
wanted to do retail.
Right.
And then he took it off the boards,
That's
and
right.
he's, trying to develop it in
Piecemeal.
2
Phases.
stages.
Piecemeal, that's
Yeah.
exactly
He
what's
wants to
gonna
do the frontage and then he'll do the back end.
Once he secures the front,
Yeah, no one's want to
Yeah.
live here.
He's got
so
the
might as
back.
well
he's
turn
got the back.
commercial.
But
They do
really,
ding dong,
if you
doesn't
look at
take
the
a
truck, if you look at the truck situation, it's more horrific than anybody can anticipate. Someone came in and gave a statement that they live a block away from Walbaum's and they can hear the truck deliveries at 5 o'clock in the morning. There's also the fact that they generate 50% of their 50% of their stock is made into garbage almost instantly. The amount of garbage generated from a supermarket, you have to look at this in terms of the push south to the village.
Well, as I was saying, we did oppose the PDD granting, and now it's the supermarket change zone. We
Well,
did
he's offered
submit...
$150,000 to be used whichever way the town sees fit, as a,
That's gonna be the traffic light they're gonna have to put in there if he builds
Yeah.
this
I think the
place.
traffic
They're
light,
gonna have to
I
put that
believe
in
the
there.
traffic light is already.
Yeah, right
Yeah.
there.
Proposed.
Yes, he
Right there.
can.
Yeah, they will.
They will.
They will.
That's exactly what's gonna happen. If they build this place, you're gonna have another traffic
Build
light
it, they
there.
will come.
Yeah, right here.
There'll be 3 traffic lights right in a row.
Yeah. Well, actually, there are 3 of them.
Yeah, there's Sandy
Boom,
Hollow,
boom, boom.
yeah.
The PC, Richards, this one.
Mhm. There's 3 of them. Boom, boom, boom.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll all be
The
staggered.
existing zoning makes sense, is to keep a heavy traffic.
Yeah, I think we should keep, well, I mean, in as much as
I
we
mean,
have
that's the
any
only thing.
say.
It
Can
could
you
be
make a
anything.
recommendation? Can you make a?
Well, I mean, one of the primary recommendations, again, goes to what both the town's comprehensive plan and the village's comprehensive plan directs to, which is the issue of scale. That supermarket is not to the scale of the East End, that we need smaller markets that would be more in line with the scale. As you said, also you touched on this thing, is that the nature of the community out here is not to come and do these.
I think if you live in Bridgehampton, you like that big King Cullen.
Do you want one
I
every
think-
4 miles?
No,
Yeah, see,
maybe
that's
no,
the- yeah,
but the scale is,
yeah.
I have more of a problem in terms of location. I really think that this is not, it's a carved out piece, as you said, that was there because of circumstances, but it's not, definitely not part of an overall plan. And I think even though there may be a need for this similar type development, I think it should be in a corner, it should not be located.
Why you say there's a need?
I think there's,
It's
I
funny,
think,
need,
Like,
need, really.
I think there is. I think that only one, right now, the Old Bone does not, is a single source
Well, there's
supplier right
Schmitz.
now.
There's Schmitz, and
There's
there's,
Schmitz,
then
but-
there's Katina's, and
There's also the King Cullen in Bridgehampton and the
Right.
King Cullen in Hampton Bays.
and
and the
Cinderella.
Stop
You
and
know,
Shop,
yeah, and
and
Cinderella,
the Wild by
yeah.
Nature, and
it's not really a need, I mean, it's not,
Yeah, yeah.
it's not like you can't get our food.
There is actually criteria for need. You know, and need has been legally defined in these instances because these kinds of applications for zone change have been challenged in the courts. So if you say you think there's a need for a supermarket, you think there's a need for another market, and I tell you I think there's a need for a Target, and we're at that point. The need has to be determined by the access to, assuming it's a community need, which is a grocery store and a supermarket is, then the need is determined by how you can access it, how you're serviced, how your area is serviced. And this area is actually serviced adequately.
By the way, the developer has never submitted any proof of the need for a supermarket of this nature.
No, it's just assertions and demographics from the Midwest. He picked from the Midwest, and, you know, it's...
I think if you looked at a larger map and put the King Cullen in Hampton Bays and the King Cullen in Bridgehampton and the Walbaum in Southampton and say, okay, who's the customer that's going to use this? It might be Tuckahoe North Sea. There's going to be a line that says someone east of Hampton Bays makes come here, you know, south of here, a bit, you know, how is this, it's going to hurt Walbaum's, obviously.
Yes.
Is it going to put
More than
Walbaum's out of
Walbaum's.
business?
well, they're
It's
already.
difficult to say
Yeah.
because
Verge.
Walbaum's is in a failing state now.
Right.
You know, they're going into bankruptcy, they're not reinvesting in the stores, we've approached them, you know.
Right.
So the Walbaum situation is unknown. But something else might come there. But, you know, I mean, let's face it, if you go into Walbaum's now, if you go into many stores now, the inventory is shrinking because the summer people are not here. You can't get particular things. This is pitched to the summer trade. So, I mean, the demographics don't even apply. It's, you know, it's who's passing when they want to stop there, whether they, you know, they want to scoop them up.
Right. No, it's a better location than Walbaum.
Well, and that little
Depending.
center,
Not
that little
really.
center that they built, it's
Walbaum
just
is
a
a nice
little.
supermarket.
Yeah,
very
but
popular.
24/7,
Yeah.
12 months of the year, you're on the highway. instead
Better
of-
location as far as scooping
But
the
it's not
traffic.
better
Yeah,
for
they'll
the
scoop it,
traffic.
right.
But in
It's
the
not
process
better
of
for the
scooping,
traffic.
you impede on that traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That little center that's further down next to the Hess station and the bell
where there's
ringer.
like something called crusting now,
The
hot and
Crust is
crusty
in
and-
there, Sleepy's and Bottlehampton.
Yeah.
Which there was an application in front of the town for a 7-Eleven over there and got rejected.
Yeah, and, well, it got rejected, but to
Why?
speak of planning, because it was considered undesirable and unnecessary, but while this was going on, no one was notified, and the Sunoco station got the same developer's attorney, and they went in and they've got now a convenience store less than 400 feet from where this proposed King Cullen is. The Sunoco is giving over its repair bay to having a big convenience store
Is
there
that
now.
right? Really?
Yes,
Oh.
and it was the same attorney who argued it on different grounds than was arguing for this King Cullen. But here you have the need for a convenience store, less than 400 feet from the need for a supermarket, you know.
And one other factor that I'm very
Doesn't make
concerned
any
about
sense.
is that once you develop a center with multiple uses, proximity of the center to a school district, to a school across the street on a road of this nature will bring pedestrian traffic from the school to this center during lunch times.
It'll be a draw.
And that
Yeah,
road is
and
dangerous.
that is a
Oh,
very
gosh,
dangerous
road.
crosswalk.
You know,
at
there's
that
issues of
intersection.
pedestrians, there's no sidewalks, there's, you know, there are a lot of issues with this.
So, again, going back to steps that the village can take, we are definitely going to be looking into the results of this DIES, draft environmental impact statement, to see how the developer addresses these concerns, because based on planning principles, some of these don't have answers, these issues that have
What are we
brought.
asking them in particular?
Well, the issues regarding the town's master plan and the
Right.
CR 39 zoning, and the effect of traffic on CR 39, the issues of the village's back roads and how they would be used to access this thing by the population of the village, and if these back roads, as an example, the village could impose certain restrictions on traffic entering or exiting it. I'm not sure if the village residents would be happy about creating barriers and one-way roads and so forth, but that's one way of impeding on that
The
flow.
maintenance costs to the local road. There are other issues never to be, you know, underestimated, which is that property values will sink around this area. That's already happening. The proximity to the back end of this supermarket is
Which is
seriously-
the property that is owned by the developer also and is a residential property. And if one were to develop that based on the existing zoning as a residence, it wouldn't be a desirable residential development behind the supermarket. So hence, another incentive for another change of zone on that parcel. And then it's just pushing this buffer further in to...
His goal is to get what he initially wanted.
Correct.
Yeah, he
That's-
will, he'll do it
He's
in two
just-
stages. And
Yeah.
I have to, you know, I very much wish that you would look at what he submits as a DEIS, and I have to warn you that it will come in this size.
Mhm.
It will be, I know the company who's generating it, and it will be this big, it will be 10,000 pages. So, you know, whatever you can manage to look at.
What does DEIS stand for again?
Draft environmental impact statement.
Okay, does that include traffic and all?
That
Oh,
includes
yes, it
traffic.
Water, health, all the...
Everything. Actually, I've given you a document here from the town's planning department, which has listed the town's requests and the public's request as to what should be included in the scope of that draft
see.
environmental impact
Okay,
statement.
all right.
So these are some of the things that the developer has to include in its DEIS and address them. But as you can see, these are the questions and the answers will be
Now, the developers don't develop the EIS?
Yes,
correct.
Well, I mean, isn't that a conflict of interest?
no, that's required by law.
Oh, yeah.
What is the time frame for how these decisions and?
Well,
Well, once, the clock starts ticking, once he presents his draft environmental impact statement. He hasn't done that yet. He just met the first requirement, which the town has ostensibly weeded through what the public has said and their own concerns and provided him with a document as to what he has to address. It's seriously truncated. A lot of the very serious issues have been just avoided. There's something else, I made this available to the mayor. There was a successful lawsuit in which a village sued a town board because they did not feel that they had looked closely enough into the economic impact of approving a change of zone like this when they did this kind of a review. So the village, which was impacted by the decision, sued the town for making it, and they were derelict under the secret law. It's just, it's just out
but these
there.
are options
Yeah,
for the
and
village
it's
too.
New York State.
It was New York State?
Mhm.
And was it a year? Do you know when it was?
No, I don't know, I have it, if you like it, I'll.
Was it
it's a one-page
successful?
synopsis. I'm
Was
sorry?
it successful?
Yes, it was successful. It was successful.
Gee, don't want to go down that road, really.
No, I mean, nobody wants to go down the road of litigation, but what options, are really available to the public if the municipality, as the town has done, ignores the public input to it, and ignores the public concern?
Well, the village of Southampton was proposing a change of zone for a small market on Hampton Road.
This addresses that.
And
This-
that was put on hold in the last trustee meeting pending some resolution to this Tuckahoe Center
Got it.
Yeah,
application.
they've been,
And the village was threatened by a suit if it were to follow through with that change of zone on Hampton Road.
That's in Article 78, isn't it?
In Article 78, correct.
I mean,
Well, the village has not made a decision on that, and as I understand, that change of zone is on hold for the time being.
but also because the traffic issues are overlapping here. It's one part of the road and the other part of the road.
Exactly.
It's,
Just
they're
an
not,
issue.
Well, one thing is, again, going back to the traffic issue, is this, the CR 39 study. And what are the results of that study, which are still not conclusive. And that's the bottom line, that if this project was looked at in the context of a large-scale plan of what's going to happen to CR 39, let's say for the sake of argument that this study would identify along the whole stretch of Hampton Bays to East Hampton 4 nodes that could carry higher density traffic, and identify where those nodes would be or could be, and hence change the zoning or allow the change of zone in those areas subject to a developer coming and requesting it. But that's in the context of a larger scale planning study, not in the context of a specific developer coming knocking on a door for a specific type of shop. And you don't set precedents that way, haphazardly.
Right.
But
That CR 39 study is still not concluded.
not just that. That CR 39 study, I don't think even, I had a great deal of trouble with that in asking how they established the boundaries. It was arbitrary. It began here and it ended there. It's a 5-mile stretch of road, incidentally, that covers just this Tuckahoe
Well-
Market. I don't even think it goes as far as the site of the Glennon.
No.
Maybe the village could order our own traffic study to see what would the impact be in terms of traffic for this, of this center onto
Actually, the
our
village was contemplating to do something like that for the Hampton Road market study. That was actually also brought to their attention that the village should not undertake that study. I think it was at the cost of about $60,000, which I don't think that should be the case. I think that the village should take a study of its major access routes and what kind of a traffic activity it could take, or where are the areas that it could be improved, even though it's outside of its boundary, but it affects it.
It has
Yeah.
affected.
Well, it does in terms of the laws that try to calm the truck traffic. Those laws, the way they're written in the village, are that trucks shouldn't use these side roads, they shouldn't be there, unless they have a right to be there. Now, if King Cullen gets a change of zone, if he gets a change of zone, puts a King Cullen, they have a right. So a great deal of your laws are wiped off the books by that.
Well, one approach that we could take is that rather than concentrate on provision of a traffic study for the Hampton Road market, is to take the scope of it from that specific location and contribute this fund towards a more comprehensive CR 39 study in conjunction with the town, but representing the town's, the village's interest in that process. And I think that once that result is out, that study is out, until that date, this project should be on hold.
But the project on Hampton Road, though, is a lot more in scale
Correct.
with
It's only
our area.
15,000 square
Correct.
feet.
Yeah, it's only much more in
17,000
scale. And
square
also,
20,000.
it is at an intersection. I think in terms of impact, traffic impact, it's a lot better
Mhm.
than this one.
Absolutely.
This one, you're gonna be crossing the road, there's only access on one side. It's
Mhm.
poor access.
I can see a traffic light going in it within a year.
Oh,
Yeah, but
I,
it's-
I think it's in the plan. I mean, I'll try to find out, but I'm pretty sure.
I can tell you, just for the traffic, and you just put all those stores and all that, you're gonna have tons of
No,
traffic.
Because of the traffic.
They're asking that this also be provided.
A portion of it, which is
Yeah.
basically this section
Yeah,
here.
this
Yeah,
bit in here.
if they put a light for the Citarella and Watermill, they'll definitely put a light here. And that's what killed the highway.
That's right, Citarella is in Bridgehampton, Citarella and
The old
King Cullen.
Citarella,
There
that's
is,
what killed the highway.
Yeah, there is something else, I'm not sure about this, but I think that there's a
Yeah.
dilemma here. And that is that the issuance of the County Road 39 study can be manipulated. Because even though they've made it a condition that they want to see the County Road 39 study before they go forward, they have now advanced the SECRA process to the point that they have to meet deadlines that SECRA establishes. And if that County Road 39 study is not available, I'm not sure that they can alter the timeline.
Well, when was that study asked for, just recently?
No,
No,
4
quite-
years ago.
Quite a long
4
time.
years ago, 5 miles of highway.
And it's still not complete?
No.
Who
Who's
asked for it?
conducting it?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
who?
Town,
The
the town.
town is
The town
conducting
planning.
it under the guidance of Freda Eisenberg. And now it's in the hands of Kyle Collins.
The town plan.
Town plan.
And it's second, the GEIS for Hampton Bays, I think, is now 6 or 7 years waiting for that to happen, for that to be finalized. So I'm not so sure that there's lip service paid to it, but I'm not so sure that
Until it's
They
final.
can
it's
wait
not
for it.
final. That's too bad.
We think that as a planning commission should request the trustees, especially in light of the trustees deciding to put the change of zone on Hampton Road on hold, request that if that were to be the case, that they should take a more assertive role in the outcomes of the CR 39 and its relationship to the proposed Tuckahoe Center. And that's basically primarily an expansion of the points that we made and submitted as to be included and addressed in the DEIS.
What about someone, would someone want to take on the 800-pound DEIS when it comes, or at least there'd be a representative from this board to comment on it at
Well, I
public
don't think that
hearings?
our board has the capacity to do that, but the village does have a planner, Voorhees, Chief Voorhees'
Chick
office.
Voorhees, yeah.
That reviews these types of things and basically advises and makes recommendations to the trustees and to the village boards in relationship to planning issues, both within the boundaries of the village and outside. So I don't know if, again, Mr. Voorhees' office would be that entity, because this is a heavyweight.
Yeah, but he hasn't had, there's been no presence from that office so far.
He has not been,
No.
unless the trustees commission, he wouldn't be attending. And that's something that the trustees would have to look into as far as their representation. To this date, their representation has been through the planning commission. Almost, I could say, all the documentation and letters and requests have been drafted through the planning commission and submitted to the trustees, and from there submitted to the town's offices. But I think that the village does have to step up to the plate and take the
Could we
more.
recommend that the trustees have the planner?
Sure, we could
look
do
at it?
that, either Mr. Voorhees or another entity to represent the village in the upcoming.
We would feel confident if this board would be the entity because, that study, when it comes in, is gonna cost a fortune to review.
Well,
Sitting
our
on the
board
bulk
would
of
be
it.
the sponsor of
Mhm.
it. But again, we would have to bring in the professional firm to undertake this thing. This is not something that
Yeah.
we could address it as a on a volunteer basis. But we'll I suggest that the planning commission basically request the trustees to look into both representation and also the tying of the CR 39 study and possibly maybe even funding of that in order to expedite its results.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have no idea where that study is now, what stage that study is.
Well, we have to find that out too
Mhm.
on the town.
Yeah.
It's becoming important.
The last thing I'd like to say is I would anticipate that this 800-pound DEIS is going to appear very soon. You know, my feeling is that it's already written.
What activities have the local citizens advisory boards taken in this process?
The citizens advisory, the citizens group that is the one that we formed and that we did, which is not the citizen advisory, we submitted the 18 or 13 or 14 pages of notes for the DEIS after meetings and polling neighborhood people. The CAC had the developer there several times to speak to it. And then they reissued the minutes so that the town could have verbatim what the members of the CAC said about this. But the same issues have come up, the traffic, but it's not unanimous at the CAC level. You have Mr. Sheps who's for it, and, you know, so you have both viewpoints there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for hearing us out.
I have also included in today's paperwork in front of you a letter that was submitted by Karen Zenk regarding the change of zone on the Hampton Road. Do study that, and I think that we will convene again to draft a few note strategy to present to the trustees as far as steps to take in order for both for representation and monitoring of events and representing the village's interests and further definition of those interests based on the points that we brought tonight. On the other notes, what I'd like to mention as far as an update is that Mr. Voorhees' office has finalized its secret studies for the village's zoning and architectural guidelines. They're going to be submitting that to the trustees in the following weeks. It's a negative impact. We incorporated a lot of the comments of the local residents that they were brought primarily. There were a few points brought that were valid points, and in addition to that, we Mr. Voorhees' office did actually do projections as to what the existing GFAs and developments are in the village, what under the existing zoning, what could be fully developed, and what under proposed zoning would be fully developed. Obviously, as we all know, we haven't changed the development rights in that sense. It's just the form of that development that has changed. But he has expanded with numbers attached to all that, showing the actual proof of that. The trustees are expecting to vote on the first stage implementation of that in the coming weeks, which basically would pave the road towards us undertaking the next stages of infrastructure improvements. And on another note, I'm happy to say that the firm of Machado and Silvetti is developing their schematic designs for the Southampton Center, formerly the Parish Museum in the Southampton Village. They are going to present their plans to the trustees on April 11th at 5 p.m. I think, Charlie, if I'm not correct, 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. I'll correct that in the next meeting. But this is their first presentation as to what they're proposing to the site as far as both program and architectural drawings and renderings. It's a very exciting session. I would strongly recommend to all to attend that meeting.
How about the tent, this temporary tent?
And the temporary tent by Rockwell is again being addressed as part of the overall site developments over there, even though Machado and Silvetti is not the architect of that tent, but it does affect the location of that tent. And they have made recommendations as to where that tent should be on the site.
And then how about the Conservancy? Is that?
The Conservancy, we still haven't made any progress on that. I still
think it
think
should
that
be part of all of this, no?
absolutely. I mean, what we have started now is the formation of the board for the Southampton Center. And I think that as the next step, as soon as the board is created for the Southampton Center, is the formation of a conservancy and a board for that, to basically carry the interests of the Arboretum.
I think it's important that if the building is being reviewed with its revisions and whatever for program and stuff, and then there's the Rockwell tent, and then it's in the grounds. So I think it's all of a piece.
Absolutely, they're all components that are interrelated, and not one doesn't shouldn't impose on the other.
Yes, right. So that's, I think that's important.
We have started to look into individuals that would be interested in joining us in formation of the board for this conservancy, and they invite anybody that would be interested in participating to inquire at the village hall and let us know, and we would be greatly assisted in this great endeavor to give another 100 years of life to a beloved cultural center of our village. On that note, I call for ending our meeting, and unless anybody has any comments.
Well, you're going to be presenting to the trustees what we've discussed here, I guess, and
Yes.
what our recommendations are, if we have any.
We will. I will send a note to all, and we can basically build up amongst ourselves, comment on it, and then we'll forward it to the trustees. Okay. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.